No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Hello, welcome to Portray Pursuit. It is I, your host, Luke CK, coming off a huge winning weekend in both the metaphorical sense and the literal sense. We'll get into all of it. I'll break down how I had the second biggest winning gambling night in the history of the Portray Pursuit. Posted in the pics on the Patreon. We will talk about it all. Dan, Alex, oh my God, I just put this spruce oil on my face to try to wake me up for the podcast, and it's getting in my eyes, dude. Sorry, take it from here. How was your weekend, guys?
Great. Got to shred it up with the boys. Got to see Dan the Betman in person. It's a rarity. Always embrace it. Not the best gambling weekend for me, but I'm happy for you nonetheless, Luke.
Yeah, well, we'll get into all of it. We had a really chaotic weekend, guys. Sorry. Listen, I'm not going to say sorry because I had a great time and we're pretty dutiful. And, the Discord is not just about me, Alex, or Dan, but I and Dan and Alex, we were not dutiful in the Discord. We were not chatting up with the boys on Saturday because we had our own reunion. We were with our college buddies, our former roommates, their fiancés. My daughter was in tow. My BM was in tow. It was basically like a lot of I was many lives, many masters. I had many masters. I was living many lives. I was intertwining them all. Couldn't also intertwine the Triple P Mafia in the mix as far as the chat goes. But what I was dutiful about was posting my live bets. And if you know, I came on the show, I said that I bet $500 on Terrence McKinney. How do you think that bet went? Now, that bet was designed to pay for my entire Pocono ski trip. It was going to return more than I had spent for the Airbnb and for all the accoutrements. So that was my biggest one, right? That was the one that was going to be like, hey, all's good now. Now we can enjoy the main card. We are winning gamblers. We were winning in the sense that we didn't pay for the trip out of pocket. This is good, a good thing, right? Most assuredly. But obviously, Terrence went down, guys. And when that happened, Dan knew, Alex knew, they were there in person with me. I basically just looked at the group, all of the guys from my glory days of college. I said, guys, we can either be losers, and by we, I mean me, can either be a loser right now, or we can dig deep and gamble harder and win back what we lost, and then some. And that's what I had to do. Back against the wall, I did not gamble responsibly. I was essentially, you never chase losses. You never gamble while intoxicated. You never do these things. But I did those things. And I ended up, it worked out for me. Like we say all the time on the show, people place bad bets that lose. People place bad bets that win. People place good bets that lose. And people sometimes, in my case, I back was against the wall, had only a couple bullets left in the gun. There was a few parlays still active. If you're paying attention to the live sheet, we'll break it down. I'm going to present my screen real quick. Let's just get into it. But essentially, you see here, all the perfect parlays died off the rip with Oliveira. But some of the other ones that I had were still active going into the Alves fight. He ruined them. And then it was just, up to McKinney, right? So the solo bet with McKinney was still live, but also we had him in a lot of parlays. Once he went down, we were in rebuild mode. So I did rebuild with and without Lizez, because at that point, the Bonfim brothers were very much on my radar. So, the one with Lizez goes down, Moises wins. That one included Rodriguez. These two did not. Patera by KO, that happens. I said Igor Patera was going to win. I said he was going to knock out Shogun. Didn't get a ton of joy about telling everybody that, but, I was ringing that bell. It was great odds to get him by knockout and to just get a money line. I mean, it was a sure thing as I saw it. Walker, I also said was going to play the bongo drums on Paul Craig's head. He did. He literally played the bongo drums on Paul Craig's head. I said it 5 minutes before the fight happened. I said it 5 episodes before the fight happened. Not to mention, those parlays were still active, right? And I would have come away with all the money that, you see 50 for 2,700, 10 for 1,400, both of them still active. And one of them with Glover at the top, just to hedge in case Hill was still active. I wouldn't need to go out of pocket to hedge. I could just rely on the other parlay. So, it was relying upon Magny, which really, I'm embarrassed about that pick, guys. Honestly, at the end of the day, Neil Magny didn't show up. And what I'm failing to learn time and time again with Neil Magny is that he does not have a ground game. Like, I don't know where I got it in my head that Neil Magny like can wrestle and can defend takedowns and can get takedowns and has a great jiu-jitsu game. He straight up just doesn't, dude. And actually, leading up to the fight, after I came on here and gave my picks, I saw the video of him grappling with Hamza, and Hamza just kind of toying with him and doing whatever he wants to him and tapping him out many times. And I was like, yeah, Gilbert Burns can certainly do that to him. And he did. So I don't know why I still stuck with it stubbornly. I don't know why I thought that it was going to be okay. But, I mean, I just thought, hey, it's a different era in the UFC. You can just jab him to death for 3 rounds. The Brazilians weren't looking good that night. So I was like, hey, another one bites the dust maybe. And Gilbert Burns is a little bit of a crybaby. He's got his quitter brother Herbert in his corner. I thought they were going to cry themselves to sleep tonight. But didn't happen. So by that point, dude, I'm down, right? Guys, I'm down like 500 from the McKinney bet, and then we'll call it like 700 all in all from the rest of the ones, right? So, you know, you're looking at it, you're going like, am I going to go to bed tonight having lost $700, disgracing myself, my family, the rest, or am I going to figure out what the fuck is going to happen in these next fights? So luckily I had a couple, you know, beats to think, but I saw Brandon Moreno, who I picked on the podcast. I was growing more and more confident in him, and I said, okay, Brandon Moreno, how does he win this fight? I see that by KO is plus 650. So I post in the Discord or in the Patreon live betting sheet. I post, I'll share my screen again. Hold on. Present, share screen. So I say last acts. And here you see, I was even tracking alongside minus 772. I think it said minus 672 at the time. Or minus, because I didn't include the 200 I put on Moreno because I didn't lose it yet, right? So I updated it today to include. So basically, here's what was going down. I put Moreno by KO and Hill 2-pick parlay after Neil Magny broke my last betting opportunity. And I wrote last acts. So at this point, I bet 200 on Moreno by KO and Hill in the 2-fight parlay. 200 to win, 26.53. So that's that minus 200 there. And then I was set to win, at that point, $1,753 after you take after you take away the 900 that I have put out, the 2650 that makes me have like 1750, right? So 1750-ish, looking at a good profit. I take 600 and I bet it on Glover so that I at least don't lose a shitload of money if he wins. He was an underdog at that point. I ended up cashing out that $600 bet at 439 when Glover started to look pretty bad. So all in all, the profit I would have made if Glover won. At one point, I would have made a little money, or I would have made back some money if Glover won, but I would have only made $1,000 if Jamal won. With the hedge out, I ended up coming away with 1520. But guys, like I said, I had to save myself and build back from losses. This is not a night I'm proud of. I didn't feel anything when I won. I didn't feel joy when I won. It was a cold relief that washed over me. Nothing really else to be said about that. Wouldn't do it again. Wouldn't advise anyone else to do it. But here's what I will say. Better to have $1,520 in your pocket, take $520 off the top, pay for the whole weekend's worth of fun, take $1,000, put it in the bank, learn your lesson, move on, live to fight another day, and enjoy the weekend. Otherwise, it would have been pretty shitty to have lost, $972.61. That would have been shitty. I would have had to sell some cryptocurrency. I would have had to do penance. I would have had to lash myself. You know what I mean? I would have, like in Da Vinci Code, I would have had to do that. But alas, I don't have to do that. I'm drinking winter's piss. So let's crack the winter's piss.
Yeah, there we go.
And like I said, you can either lose or you can win. You can either give up or you can try. Some call it gambling addiction. Others call it perseverance. Cheers to Luke. I won. I'm paid for my whole trip. I put $1,000 in the bank, and I made back what I lost earlier in the night. And I did it when I was at my most drunken state. Maybe I'm just like the drunken master. Maybe I'm like the what's a good sports reference? Who's a guy? Who did I just learn about that was on the Giants?
Lawrence Taylor.
Who? Lawrence Taylor. Am I just the Lawrence Taylor of sports betting?
You might be the John Daly. I think that's a better alcoholic sports reference. I think the lesson here of UFC 283 is sometimes two wrongs do make a right. Lukey CK proved that. And listen, I can attest to everything that he's saying, all right? I thought he was going to flip the whole house upside down after that flying knee putting out McKinney's lights. But you know what? He was calm. He was composed, and he just took his hand, shoved it right in his pocket, and said, let me get some more bullets. All right, let me get some more bullets and lock and load. That's exactly what he did. And, came out on top for the boys, for the crew, because, Lieutenant Dan ran out of ammo real quick. I was out of it like I mean, you saw the Patreon sheet if you haven't signed up already. But yeah, listen, great night all around. Entertainment, gambling, everything. We were saved at the very end. Thank you, Lukey. Cheers to you.
Well,
Lukey and I are pretty much the tale of two cities because I was like, don't worry, I got more bullets in the car, and they all dried up. All the bullets, they combusted on me. I had to pay more hospital bills in this weird analogy where Luke was rewarded with his extra bullets, and I got my balls smashed on the table. So there is two different sides to this type of what do you say? Gambling addiction, habits, mantra, mindset, passion. Yeah. You know, sometimes you end up like Leonardo da Vinci and cutting your own damn ear off.
Well, speaking of
That's Van Gogh, you fucking dumbass. Sorry for cursing.
It's all right. We're past 11 minutes. But
yeah, Alex, you know, I'm glad you brought that up because it was the tale of two cities. You will on the Patreon. I'm gonna save this for the Patreon. We're gonna have to call you out because you were exhibiting crackhead-like behaviors. You know, late into the evening, and I want the best for you. So we're gonna have to maybe have a little bit of an intervention on the Patreon, but we'll save that for those who pay for the paywall because I don't want you to just I don't want you to have to take this abuse on air. So we'll
no,
save that.
I'll say it. I thought
no.
over to Shara was getting a submission in round 2 specifically, and he was almost daggum there, bro. He was almost there, and the fact that he didn't get that sub, it would have made me very happy, but I know that would have ruined you, and you had a lot more on the table, so I was riding for you the whole time. But
well, next week I'm going to have to get that drop of the Apocalypto where he tells Jaguar Paul, that's what I'll call you, almost. So anyway, guys, Alex, did you get that montage I had ready?
No, dude. I had work today.
Oh my gosh! So I wanted Alex to basically get a montage of all my losing bet slips throughout the night. And
why didn't you do it? I didn't know you.
I tried. I got lost in the tech. But anyway, so moral of the story: Brandon Moreno plus 650, Jamal Hill minus 130. These are two stable bets. You know, we know how much weight Figueiredo cuts. The only concern I had was that I thought Moreno was going to go for the submission or at least just wrestle fuck him for 5 rounds because it seemed like Saif Saud was kind of whispering that game plan into his ear. So I thought he was going to submit him. And I'm like, he has submitted him in the past. It would be, you know, a good game plan. But that knuckle hit that eye and that crab in a bucket doctor came in there and stopped that fight. And I was just like, one more road to cross, one more risk to take. I got to live my life like there's one more move to make. And I could have cashed out. FanDuel was so generous with their cash outs. I could have cashed out and still been like in the profit, like $200 going into the Jamal Hill fight off that 2-fight parlay with the bet I placed $200 on the 650 Brandon Moreno by KO. So at this point, you know, that $1,500 in profit is just a pubic hair shy of my best bet of all time, a 10-fight parlay. And I managed to do it with 2. And one of them was outcome specific and one was just a really stable favorite. Like I thought Kevin Holland was going to be against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. So what I'm thinking moving into the new year is just like pick your shots. I hit, you know, plus 650 on Umar Nurmagomedov by knockout. I hit plus 650 on Brandon Moreno by knockout. It's like give me these plus 650 by KO props all day, and let me pair it with one other one. I'll put a couple units on there, and you know, you got to change your perspective, Alex. You know, you used all your ammo. Some people would say, Luke, you were down almost $1,000 going into the Brandon Moreno fight. Like, how do you keep so cool, so calm, cool, collect? You got to look at it differently, guys. You got to just look at money as just numbers on a screen. It's just units, right? So $1,000 might be, you know, to some people a lot of money, but to me, that's one unit. It's just one unit, okay? I can 1 unit, that's nothing, okay? So
We've been over this. The more losses you have, the size of your unit goes up, and it is strict. The size of your unit is strictly based off of how much money you owe DraftKings.
You could either shoot BB guns where you have 1,000 rounds and you're pew, 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 or you can just shoot a missile. You know what I mean? And just say that everything in your bank is your unit. That's 1 unit. You know what I mean? And sometimes you only have 1 unit left. But just because you go, well, my bankroll is smaller, so now I'm just going to divide it into smaller units. I just say I have less units. I have 1 unit out of 100 left. It happens to be $1,000. You see what I'm saying, guys? $1,000 doesn't represent that I have $100,000 to bet. It represents that I would like $100,000 to bet, and I'm down to my last 1,000. We gotta play hardball. But now we got like 2 units or 1.5 units left in the bank roll. So after the vacation, I'm down to like 1 unit again. But here's the thing. Why do people only call it units when you're betting? Why don't they be like, man, I just went to the grocery store and dropped like 2 units?
Luke, you as a Instacarter should know that they do call them units when they send you the order, don't they?
No. Batches.
No. The batch is the whole thing. I'm talking about when they're like, how many units is in the batch? Don't they use units? Items. Okay, close enough.
Listen, I might be the only person who doesn't operate at a trade deficit with his grocery store. I go to the grocery store, I make money, I don't spend it. Okay, so moving on. No, I've graduated from the card game. I'm on to a different card game now.
For this, no man shall be defined nor judged by the size of his unit. Can we conclude with that?
The conclusion is that I deliver groceries, which makes me a hero. I'm an essential worker, and I'm a 2,700 batch veteran. So have some respect. I'm a card star. Dan?
I'm a 13 hundo guy myself.
No, I just meant give me a little salute.
Oh, well, there you go.
All right.
Salute to Lieutenant Dan. You got it.
You're like a brigadier. Like a brigadier.
Yeah, I'm a little scout, little drummer boy.
I didn't get very high in the ranks of Instacart, sadly.
All right. Well, we gotta listen, guys. We're gonna give you the quick takes. I thought it was gonna take us a lot longer to break down last week's card, and really give you what were your guys' learnings from it all? I mean, Jamal Hill put an absolute fucking wallop in on Glover. John Hackelman, legend of the game, Chuck Liddell's former coach. John Hackelman was ready to stop that fight going into the last round, and you gotta think if only he had that same approach with Chuck. You know what I mean? If only he had that same approach when it came to some of Chuck's last fights or some of Chuck's wars.
I think he did. I think he actually did and was like on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani and made that vividly clear that he did not want him to fight Tito again and all that jazz.
Guys, listen, by the way, on the mountain, I took a hard fall snowboarding. And when I was on the chairlift, I remember having such a bad headache and feeling like I was going to throw up. And when I got home, I reflected. I said, maybe I had a concussion.
100%.
So I might still have a concussion. That is quite possible. So
he's in protocol for sure, at least.
I am in concussion protocol right now. The light that I'm looking at right now, are my pupils dilated?
Yeah, I can't tell. Your eyes are
100%. He's in the blue tent, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the blue tent.
He's got to get in the
I got the hat on. I'm trying to keep the shade down. I'm trying to keep the shade. Because I was just like, man, I'm really hungover. I got a headache and I feel like I'm about to puke. And it happened all of a sudden, all at once. But anyway.
Was that the one when you hurt your wrist?
I don't know. The thing is, I didn't really hit my head hard.
All right. We're leading to the fact that you have.
They say you don't need to hit your head that hard, guys. They say you don't need to hit your head.
We're leading to the fact that you have a concussion. You're like, I don't even know. I don't even know how it happened. I don't know which fall it was. I just remember getting on the lift and feeling like I had to throw up.
Yeah, but I think it was just acid reflux. We're gonna go with that. Either way, whether it is a concussion or it isn't, the treatment is the same. It's not like the doctor's gonna give me a cast for my brain. Move on. Okay, so we move on. Guys, lead the show a little bit here. What do you
learnings from last week? Learnings from last week.
Terrence McKinney got knocked out so hard. The Bonfim brothers, I want to shake my fist at them, but my wrist hurts from falling snowboarding so bad that I can't shake it. So I got to put it down and say, tip of the hat to the Bonfims. Okay, hey Bonfims, tip of the hat. Tip of the hat. I got a really nice haircut this week. I shouldn't be covering it up with the hat. Check it. See
that faded.
So, keep a look at the tip of the hat to the Bonfims. I mean, to come in. All the pressure's on them, and what do? Both get finishes. Both make their opponents look bad. You know what I mean? Not really much else you can say. We kind of saw that Terrence McKinney was done from the start. It really looked like that. And to me, Terrence, he doesn't keep his hands up. He doesn't rely on his strongest attribute immediately. If you're a wrestler and you're a level wrestler like Bo Nickel or Terrence McKinney, you got to be on that takedown, on those legs, like a dog on meat from the very, very start. Ben Askren was, and yeah, maybe to his detriment in the Masvidal fight, but it took him 15 of those for that to happen. And you guys haven't done what Ben Askren's done. You want to laugh at him for the Jake Paul thing. You've never even sniffed Jake Paul's jockstrap or Ben Askren's jockstrap. Okay, guys? So Terrence McKinney, Bo Nickel, don't ever talk shit about Ben Askren again. That being said, get to the takedown quick. I don't want to see Bo Nickel fall in love with his hands. You can clearly see that Terrence has. And if he fights Matt Frevola again, I don't think we'll be that lucky. Because Matt Frevola, he went down in that fight, but, I think
He came
Terrence
back like a bat out of hell in his next fight, Matt Frevola. Made us all look stupid.
Yeah. So I think Terrence needs to get back to ride the horse that got you there, get on your wrestling, work on your hands in the gym. That's fine. But George St. Pierre didn't start jabbing people up until he was way deep into his title reign, right?
Yeah, when he was like boxing with Freddie.
He already beat Josh Koscheck in the wrestling game when he boxed him and broke his orbital bone the second time, Or what's that the first? I don't even know, guys. Like I said, I think I have a concussion, and I'm still drinking winter's piss from the weekend. What else did we learn from the card? I mean, I think they kind of robbed Zara Ferrer and Noon a little bit. I don't know. I mean, Nunes, to me, I had bet her. I picked her on the podcast. That's one I'll say, like, easy fight for us to look back in hindsight and say, holy shit, like, Zara Ferrer was towering over Nunes. I think Nunes' chip's going to get pulled. I think her card's going to, her dance card's going to get pulled eventually, and she's going to lose one of these fights because she's not, like, athletically, she's not built for that weight class or whatever. She's looking like a weight class is in between her and Zara Ferrer Hanoun. So, Zara. So next, what other things? Gregory Rodriguez looks so good.
Well, they got us back right after with one weird decision, right back with the Worley Alves one. I thought Worley Alves had that one hands down, and then they raised Dalby's hand. I was very shocked to see that.
Yeah, because you weren't watching. I can tell you right now, he was never going to win. He was out. Maybe if you give him, he landed more damage, but he was outlanded like 3-1. Maybe not every round. I don't even know the exact stats, but at the same time, he was clearly landing way more shots. So maybe just as the pessimist, having Alves, just knowing that I'm definitely losing this one, gave me the clearer perspective on
you guys need to know Dan watches every single fight and thinks the guy he bet on is losing every single time he's watching, where Luke is the complete polar opposite and always thinks his fighter's winning. So I can never get a good read on what's going on in the fights whatsoever. Dan's like, no, we're fucked. Luke's like, oh my gosh, no, that's a 10-8. And then I'm just stuck somewhere in the middle and I don't know what to do.
Alex, you got to be the porridge that's just at that right temperature, bud. You got to find the sweet spot right in the middle. You got to be that guy for us, all right?
I'll do my best.
That's your role.
That's why I brought you guys together, because it's the three of us. We make a good soup. In terms of, Dan, he's wearing a Mets jersey right now. He's a traditional sports guy. On the mountain, actually, our mutual friend was talking about Dan to Dan's fiance. He was telling Dan's fiance that Dan is a Joe Namath type of athlete.
I haven't heard this. Go on. I like being compared to Broadway Joe.
You're Joe Namath type of athlete. You're not like a huge, hulking, physical, muscular guy, but you're fundamental at pretty much every sport. Whether you put a baseball bat, a tennis racket, something like that in your hand, you're gonna do decent. You're gonna know you could almost coach any of those sports.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm more of like a Kobe Bryant type.
Dynamic, twitchy.
Dynamic, fast twitch. I can go from 0 to 60 in 0.7 seconds. I got it all. I can play soccer too if you want me to. Whatever you want.
Yeah, you're a big-time soccer guy.
Well, now that you guys got your horoscopes and everybody feels good and nice and warm and fuzzy inside, we can talk about Gregory Rodriguez because he was looking so good. I was talking to Rich sitting next to him watching the fight.
Wait, Luke, we need your comparison. You're more of a Muggsy Bogues. Sorry. Go on.
Okay. So we're going on. I'm watching the fight with our friend, and I'm like, man, like he's looking so crisp. Like he's like bop, bop, touching him. And Rodriguez, he's keeping the distance. He's looking good. He's avoiding all his shots. He's just looking like there's a big disparity in skill between the two. And then what his opponent did so well, man, is that he hit him with that little, what's his name, Ferreira. He hit him with the little kind of like stutter step, like the fake. He kind of like faked him and then went for it. What can you say? These guys are wearing small gloves. They're big boys slinging leather. Rodriguez, I was saying before he got knocked out, I was saying the fights that he has with guys like Sarukian are guys that technically might be a little bit better than him, but he brings the dog out in them, kind of like a Johnny Walker guy, where he like gets them into like these fights that are like active and they fight his fight kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the one guy was just a little bit faster and RoboCop was a little too robotic. You saw him kind of bite on every single one of those fakes throughout the fight, and especially in that finishing combination. The guy threw, what was it? A jab, a fake jab, a fake hook into a straight left that landed and put him away. I was surprised to see RoboCop go down like that because we're known to have him be this durable guy who will get his whole entire face cut off and still go out there and win the fight. So I was surprised to see him go down like that, especially I was upstairs watching the Birds game at this time. So I didn't see the first like 2 minutes and I just came down in time for the knockout. It was great. Have the parlays die on. To hear your guy was doing so well, you walk down and then he just gets stiffed. But yeah, go Birds. That's all I'll say.
I think the most technical breakdown I could do of this fight and why RoboCop lost was Lukey CK put the Malouk on him pretty hard. We're watching the fight together. Luke's he's going on and on about how awesome Gregory Rodriguez is looking. He's so smart. He's got great octagon IQ. His technique is flawless. Boom, knocked out instantly. So for all of you who had Rodriguez as a parlay pillar, anchoring those parlays, you have Lukey CK to thank for. However, as we already said, totally redeemed himself. Sign up for the Patreon if you want those last-minute adjustments to a card that could save your night. Really could.
Well, yeah, I'm really sorry about that, guys. Basically, the trophy certified picks that went down were the first fight of the night, Oliveira, Alves, McKinney, Lazez, and Rodriguez. 5 trophy certified picks went down out of 12. We gave you Stamen. A lot of people thought Lacerda won that fight, so that was another close one. But Stamen looked really good. We gave you Nunes. We gave you Almeida. Nothing to really write him about there. 3 huge favorites. But we also gave you Moises, another huge favorite. We gave you Bateria, minus 200. That was really the pick right there. That was the spot to put your money on to just know it's in good hands. You know, sail Shogun Hua off into the fucking elves. Let him go live with the elves. His career is done. He's Frodo Baggins, off to live with the elves. Bilbo Baggins, off to live with the elves. Sail over the elven realm. Jessica Andrade, Dan said to you guys, he said, don't make this overcomplicated. She's going to smoke her. My heart said it. My mind said it. We went with her trophy certified. And Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill, probably the best odds person to bet on the entire card, right? Minus 130. Obviously, you know, there's some underdogs that, but like if you look at McKinney, he got upset, but it was pretty much an even money fight. Alves, pretty much an even money fight. Oliveira, probably, you know, right there was a good dog shot opportunity on Marcos, but still not in the plus 200 range. Manor Lazez, again, he was an underdog. We went with the dog shot there. Ferreira, all right, there you go. That's a really, he's the best dog of the night that won. But how many people were willing to go against RoboCop like that? Not me. Ultimately, when we all went on an island by ourselves, that's where we lost, aside from the trophy certified picks, obviously, that we lost. But there was no time where 2 of us lost and 1 of us won on an island, which is interesting to see. Dan went on an island with Paul Craig. I saw it so clearly that Johnny Walker was going to get this. But, I mean, if you saw the Krylov fight, you know what kind of fight Paul Craig's willing to have. Every fight Paul Craig has, he's putting himself in bottom position. He's putting himself in danger. Johnny Walker is such a big, hulking, athletic guy. If he was in America, he'd be a basketball player. He's so fucking, like, you know, fluid and tall and lanky. And I just knew he was going to come down with those hammer fists, and that's exactly what he did. Paul Craig got a single leg. Chael Sonnen said it best. Do you have my arms? Do I have your leg, or do you have my arms, right? And Johnny Walker had his arms. And he also had his temple, and he drove that fist into it, knocked him out. Paul Craig, you done. Neil Magny, my stupid ass island pick, but at least my guy was plus 450. You know what I mean? Like that's like the biggest dog on the card, and I took a shot. And Alex Figueiredo, he got it. He got smoked up. He got smoked up. He's too small for that weight class. He'd do better, I think, as a lightweight. Honestly, like just fucking stack on the muscle, man. Because he's got a good athletic build, but he's just so muscle on bone. I mean, this guy can't go for 5 rounds, and you're putting him against a Mexican striker, a Mexican boxer like Brandon Moreno. He's going to fucking be there all 5, throwing volume, you know?
Absolutely.
Shame on you, Alex. Shame.
Glover's an absolute warrior. Absolute badass. I mean, How many 43-year-olds do you know who could take a ass whooping like that and keep coming and still be dangerous in the 4th round, the 2nd round? My best friend, Glover Teixeira. That's the only man who is capable of doing that. And I thought fading him would mean he would get the dub, but a little wrinkle added. Did you guys see the videos of Alex Pereira eyeing down Jamal Hill after that fight? Alex Pereira.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine and all, but here's the thing. I think Jamal Hill fucks up Alex Pereira.
You're insane. You're absolutely insane. Why would you think that?
I mean,
you think big old Alex Pereira, who is way too big for middleweight, who would still probably be bigger than Jamal Hill, would lose against Jamal Hill, who has the body of like a 11th grade boy, a 10th grade boy with that belly and those titties? Like, I mean, I love Jamal Hill and I love the aesthetic of him, but I'm just saying, dude, like, Alex Pereira is a different animal. And don't forget, he was a Glory kickboxing champion at 2 weight divisions as well. So it is within the realm of possibility that he could jump up and try to contend for that belt, especially how dead the light heavyweight division is right now.
All right. Well, listen, I mean, it was a night where, I got a lot of, I have to do a shout out actually. Our guy, Bruce Fields, shout out to Bruce, I hope you're watching. He sent me, he had a new personal best record. Basically, hold on. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
I also have a shout out after this one.
So this is his winning bet slip. You can't see it. It's hard to see. I'll read it.
You gotta read it.
12-team parlay. Pacers -175. Nets -285. Grizzlies -550. Jorginho Rosenstrike over Chris Dawkins. Way back when, yes, he's always doing these long parlays, right? Multi-event
Futures, yeah.
Excuse me. So this actually started with so this one ended on 12/13, December 13th, and started with Raul Rosas Jr., ended with the Indiana Pacers. Okay, so then we go forward. He had a 13 parlay. Javid Basharat, Mateus Rebecki, the Niners against the Seahawks, the Bills against the Dolphins, and these are -900, -550, -510, -800, -350, -360, -335, -500, -350, -121. Jamal Hill, Ravens, Abdul Razak Al-Hassan over Ribeiro, Dan Ige over Damon Jackson. So it's a lot of stable big favorites sprinkled in with some even money stuff, sprinkled in with a couple of dogs, 1 or 2 dogs. And dude, he's basically, it says that he did 30 to win 23-48 on that one. Or no, was it? Oh, that's points. Okay, so I'm not sure how to read this. This is Bovada. It's Bovada. So I don't use Bovada. But either way, this was a 16-team parlay. He did. It was Giants, Kings, Ihor Pateri over Shogun, Cody Stamen, Jessica. So yeah, a lot of these like big favorites. I see the Bengals over the Ravens. I see the Niners over the Seahawks. The Cowboys at -140. That's pretty good. Brandon Moreno -110 over Davison Figueiredo. Bills -1100 though. Danny Gay -130. So yeah, just a lot of just it seems like he that just is picking picks that he believes in. As opposed to just looking at the odds at all. And it's like across a lot of different events. He's able to string together a 16 game parlay. He said, I hit a new world record at a 16 parlay and a 13. My record was 14 until today. I should win $1 million. No. He said he withdrew 500. He figured out how to withdraw. Because remember, he was writing in, he was saying that Bovada and these offshore books are hard to withdraw sometimes. Well, he figured it out. He got the money, and congrats to you, Bruce. And congrats to Reigns in the Discord. Reigns also had a another pretty much perfect parlay. I think that might have even been a couple events ago, guys. Sorry, I have a lot going on. And what do you guys think? What was your shout out, Dan?
This is a shout out and also a rest in peace, Michael Lair, longtime fan of the show. Never met him in person, but he was often commenting, funny to the very end. He ripped me a couple times. He said, oh, you got all the books in the background. You don't even know how to talk. Like, come on now. So just funny dude. Again, big time fan of the show. Rest in peace. Thanks for supporting the show as long as you did. And, we'll see you in another lifetime, buddy.
Rest in peace, Michael Lehrer. Yes, we actually dedicated an episode to him a while back when we heard that he was first thinking about going off into the elven realm, as we said about old Shogun Hua. So say hi to Shogun for us, Michael Lehrer. Say hi to Terrence McKinney for us, Michael Lehrer. No, I'm kidding. But Michael Lehrer, he's one of our first famous fans. As I said, I was like, this is the first guy who followed us. Where I said, oh, this guy. When he signed up, I was like, wait, where do I know that name from? And sure enough, Michael Lehrer from Kill Tony, if you don't know, Injured Dice Clay, many famous characters from Kill Tony, hilarious guy with ALS, and you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. All right, moving on. I'm going to get another beer, guys. Let's talk about next week's card. We'll just do quick takes. Guys,
You want to do the football first?
What?
You want to do the football picks first?
Well, let's do football. Let's talk football first. So
let's talk a little skin.
We got 2 football games to break down. I am 9 out of 10 on every single playoff game so far. I got the Cowboys game wrong last night, but it's hilarious because it's like, I hate the Cowboys, and yet and what happened was what I thought would happen. Like, of course, they choked in such Cowboys fashion too, right? Shout out to our mom who sent us a pic of her bet slip from betting the Bengals at like plus 230 weeks ago, and she goes, "I knew." What did she say, Alex? She's like, what did she call Josh Allen? It's so funny.
She called him.
Imagine a 50-year-old lady. Imagine a 50-year-old lady texting you a winning bet slip where she bet $2.50 to win $6 on or whatever it was on the Bengals, right?
We don't shame units, Luke. We don't unit shame.
We don't unit shame. We don't unit shame, but it's just hilarious to just imagine that these people exist. Like, next time you see the woman you work with, the woman working at the front desk of Planet Fitness or whatever. Not that my mom does that. I don't know why I said that, but I'm saying that the unassuming people in your life who you just say hi and bye to, just think that there's a burning passion and a burning hatred for people like Josh Allen, apparently, just raising inside. What did she call him?
She called him a crybaby.
She goes, I knew that Joe Burrow would win. Josh Allen is a crybaby punk. It was a crybaby punk.
Oh, man.
Josh Allen is like such a man of the people, like as far as NFL quarterbacks go. It's such the opposite.
If you're from New Jersey and you know women from New Jersey, I'll even say start from the bottom of New Jersey, go as far up as Long Island. East Coast women, there's nothing they love more than just hating for no reason a team or an individual. I've heard it for years, whether it would be Sidney Crosby, Tom Brady. I've heard how, or who else, Alex? Archie Manning, for some reason. My grandma hated Archie Manning.
Yeah, she was a little older. She hated all the Manning brothers.
All the Mannings.
Yeah.
His kids,
Cooper. Even Cooper didn't
have a chance. His kids never had a chance. And I was like, I didn't even know who Archie Manning was. I was like, what? Like, you don't like Archie? Either way.
Well, you better remember the name because his grandson, Archie Manning, is playing for the University of Texas or Texas University. I never know which way to say that one.
Archie, if you're listening and you need a manager, here's my first piece of free advice. And the next piece of advice, no more free game you got to pay for. Keep leaving your ID places on campus. It's great marketing. Everyone keeps taking a picture of it. And then what's happening? Your name's getting out into the public zeitgeist. You got to keep doing it, dude. It's a thing now. It's your thing. You leave your ID everywhere you go. Keep leaving them. Go to that student union and say, I need 50 IDs, and just start placing them. Put them in bushes. Hide them around campus. And then you tweet out, if you find my ID,
don't make fake ones.
Find me. And then
people make fake real IDs. Just make a fake student ID and leave it everywhere.
Right,
you don't even gotta go to the student
He's
center.
kidding, guys. He's kidding. Why do you just keep doing this to yourself, dude?
What do you mean?
I'm not trying to edit this episode. You're encouraging people to make fake student IDs. That's a crime. That's a federal crime. You should be behind bars, Alex. Truly.
Is it illegal?
To make fake student IDs? You bet your fucking ass it is, Alex. You apologize and say you were just kidding.
I was just kidding. Do not. I said one person should. I didn't say people should, but I will say, Archie, do not do that. Do not do that.
You know that there's people watching the show now, waiting for us to slip up, waiting, ready to make a video of us in a lewd fashion.
How I know.
Yeah, what's his last name rhyme with?
You need to you listen. You need to always be on guard against the possibility that somebody could take a video and make you look silly. Okay.
I know. I experienced it firsthand.
Don't go on MMA Twitter. Do
Yeah.
not.
Rule number 1, don't make a podcast ever. Then you will never have to worry about these lewd videos being made about you.
Yes. Well, listen, either way, we're just going to move forward. And listen, I'll never say anything stupid again, so don't worry.
Alcohol's pretty good.
So we move on. What should we do now?
Do our picks for football.
Yeah. What do you got, Luke? Niners versus the Eagles. This one's an easy one. I think we'll all be aligned on this.
Yeah, dude, I got the Birds. I got a $50 bet on the Eagles right now. As it stands, I love the odds. I got a $50 bet on the Eagles to win against the Niners and another $50 bet on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. Just a little sprinkle, just enough to pay for pizza and beer for the games, just enough to enjoy them still and not have too much pressure on them. But, just a little bit of rollover cash from my winning bets on the Bengals, my winning bets on the fights. Having a little fun. But I got the Eagles. I did not like what I saw against the Cowboys. The Niners barely got through that game. They limped through that game. They relied on the field goals. You want to rely on field goals? We're going to drive the ball into the end zone 4 times before you can fucking blink, dude. Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great story. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, coming in there, winning 2 playoff games for his team. But the glass shoe has to come off one of these weeks, and this is definitely going to be the week in the NFC Championship, the biggest stage that this man's ever been on. Jalen Hurts is used to this. He's played in a few national championships, definitely big college games, and played in a playoff game last year as well for the Eagles. I think this is cut and dry. Eagles all day. I don't know what the spread is, but I got him winning by about 18.
2.5.
Oh, fucking hammer 10 points. I don't really see the Niners scoring too much on the Eagles. They had 4 players with double-digit sacks, one of the best defenses in the entire league, best turnover differential of any team in the NFL. I really don't see Jalen Hurts making any mistakes, especially at home. Philly's a tough environment to play in. All these California soy boys coming over from having their hair blow in the wind on the beach. They're coming into Philly, baby, and it's cold as ice at this time of year, and it's going to be trouble. Dan, what do you think?
Birds by 100. I think the one thing they got to look out for is the run defense. Got to stop the Niners' run. That's been the one, not even a weakness, but kind of, if there's any weakness on the Birds, that would be it. But besides that, I see them, getting to Purdy, 70-plus sacks on the year, one of the all-time best pass rushes in NFL history statistically. Hopefully, A.J. Brown isn't too dinged up there, and we can get the ball downfield methodically as we always do. But I'm going to go with Birds by 100, baby. Let's go.
Second most sacks in an NFL season ever, correct? Only second to the 85 Bears.
I believe so. And I think the only team to have 4 players with 10 plus sacks. So there we go.
That was part of my soliloquy, but I guess you want to.
All right. Here's my same game parlay for the Eagles game. Eagles to win by 10. Eagles to have A.J. Brown score and McCaffrey to score.
Okay.
It'll over 90 receiving yards.
No shot. 0% chance. I think the best play on this might be like
I think it's going to be like a 28 field goals game.
I think 3 field goals for the Niners might be a really good bet. I don't know if you can bet on that, but that'd be I would love to get some action on 3 Niners field goals. Robbie Gould threw the uprights 3 times, probably end the game 28-9.
Dude, Kittle is going to have a sick game, but they're going to lose.
Okay.
I think he could put up 100 receiving yards, but they could still lose.
See, I don't think so. I think if anything, what I always like to do is I do it for guys like Tony Pollard all the time, Christian McCaffrey. I'll go with the running backs receiving yards because it's usually set a little lower. And if they do like a screen wheel or something like that, a wheel route, that's 30 yards right there. And usually 30 yards for Christian McCaffrey receiving is around like minus 115 or something like that usually. So that's kind of like what I like to play. Christian McCaffrey is a very dynamic running back. And if you are looking for some receiving yards, I would say roll with Christian McCaffrey because Brock Purdy isn't going to have a lot of time in that pocket, and they're going to be relying on the run game a ton. And the difference, Dan, you said, the Eagles' run defense has been suspect throughout the season. The only difference is that other teams have like number one quarterbacks on their team. I hope to God the San Francisco's 49ers picked up a fourth string quarterback because they don't even have a QB1. Like the reason it's hard to play run defense sometimes is because they'll throw a lot of weird shit out there that makes you think, oh, this might be a pass, and then they slip one in on you, or they're killing you with the pass, and then or you're so worried about the pass that the rush is the second thought, and you're like, all right, well, at least we didn't give up 15 yards on that play instead of 7. So I think that the run defense is going to really buck up, and that if you really want to bet anything in terms of the Niners, I would say Christian McCaffrey touchdown scorer and Christian McCaffrey over 30, 40 receiving yards.
All right, good play.
Next game, what do you guys think?
I'm going to take the Bengals over the Chiefs. Bengals going back to the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes getting the high ankle sprain, something like that. Definitely doesn't help their cause. I really just think Joe Burrow is the truth. I think he's ascended as the number 2 quarterback in the league behind Mahomes. Man, he just has a way of tearing up a defense, finding the holes and picking them apart. And I think Kansas City is a little bit more flawed this year than people are really seeing out there. So I like the Bengals. I think they're super legit. Down 3 lineman starters in their last game, plug in new guys, and they looked even better than they have in a long time as far as just moving the defensive line back into the secondary seemingly on every play. So dominant fashion for the Bengals in their last game. I don't think it's going to be as dominant against the Chiefs, but I do predict a win on the money line for Cincinnati.
Couldn't agree more. We saw this movie before, and it's going to end the same way. Joe Burrow putting his dick in Pat Mahomes' mouth. Pat Mahomes is the most overrated quarterback in the entire NFL. I don't think he's all that good. He's no Jalen Hurts. He's no Joe Burrow. I even think Mickey Mouse Allen, who can't seem to string together a playoff series, he's maybe Josh Allen's even better than him. Lamar Jackson. Who else? Who else do I need to name? Because Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, there you go. There's 7 quarterbacks right there better than Pat Mahomes. I think that the main thing in this game is going to be the defense of the Chiefs. Can the defense of the Chiefs get through that damaged offensive line of the Bengals? I don't necessarily think so. I think the Bills defense is a lot better than the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense looks terrible. They let the Broncos score like 28 on them, and they had the most anemic offense in the entire season. Russell Wilson only threw for like 14 touchdowns in the entire season. I think about 6 or 7 of them were on the Chiefs alone. Granted, they play each other twice a year, but that's terrible. You didn't see the Colts letting Russell Wilson get that many touchdowns. You didn't see San Francisco 49ers, and the San Francisco 49ers lost that game 12-10. So you really got to, or I think it was 12-11, but you really got to look at this one with a fine point of view. Joe Burrow doesn't give a shit. He got done that game. He said, I hope everybody gets their refund for that neutral site game that they all paid to go to, the Bills versus the Chiefs, because they had already scheduled it out. They thought the Bills and the Chiefs were going to be playing for the AFC Championship. I hope you all got your money back. Joe Burrow is the coldest in the game, and I think he dominates the Chiefs. I think it might be a 2-possession, 3-possession ball game.
All right, well, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. The Chiefs do not lose at home, and it's pretty much a even money pick here. I like to get the Bengals at dog odds. I just got them at dog odds, and now I'm going to go the other way and take their opponent at better odds since the Bengals are coming off a win. Really not passionate about this game at all. I agree with Alex. I don't like Mahomes. I think he's overrated, but I just think that him and Andy Reid are going to go back to the locker room. They're going to come back with a vengeance. They're going to win this time. And
Chad Henne looked pretty good out there. I mean, if Pat Mahomes can't play more than a couple drives because I mean the defense on the Bengals is pretty damn good, and they were sending safeties at Josh Allen, smacking him in the pocket. Like if Mahomes gets hit with one of those with that bum ankle of his, he might be out for the rest of the game, and then anything is possible. Henny might come in and take over the game. They're better with Chad Henne than they are Pat Mahomes. Believe that.
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday.
I cashed out my $50 Eagles bet, and I put 25 of it on a same game parlay. Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown score. AJ Brown, anytime touchdown score. George Kittle, anytime touchdown score. Eagles to win by 9.5. 25 to win $2,000.
Woo!
Now it's gonna be, now I know what you're saying, Dan. It's gonna be difficult when you got two of the Niners guys that need to score touchdown. But think about it: if any two are gonna, who are gonna?
Or Deebo Samuels.
Deebo
I would have said
Samuel.
Jalen Hurts,
Deebo
AJ
Samuels,
Brown, and Christian
yeah.
McCaffrey.
Ayuk,
yeah. They are very dynamic. That's the problem with the Niners is like they have so many guys who could score at any time. Even Isaiah Mitchell, or that's his name, right? Isaiah Mitchell?
Yeah.
Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell. Yeah, I knew it began with an E and not an I. I'm an idiot. Yeah, he's real good too, and that's the backup running back. So they've got a lot of studs. The Niners, from top to bottom, have the best roster in the entire NFL, hands down, and one of the best coaches in the NFL, offensive minded, of course. They are a very good team. If they had a better quarterback, which brings up the next point, where is Aaron Rodgers going to go? Where is Tom Brady going to go? The Niners look like the best possible spot for two California boys, right? Isn't Tom Brady from California too?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. So that's a good landing spot for either of those guys. Even Derek Carr might be a little better than Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, and Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, those three quarterbacks are all second string quarterbacks on 90% of the teams in the NFL at best. So, I mean, roster top to bottom, best roster in the entire NFL. Definitely the scariest team to play. We're just lucky they don't really have a quarterback situation right now.
All right. Well, those are your football picks. We're on a break week now, so we have to go and do a full rundown of our quick picks. We're going to study them up. Obviously, we're not as well studied as we're going to be by next Monday, so take this with a grain of salt. These are our early predictions for UFC Vegas 68. What seems to be a card that would have been in Japan, would have been in China based on the time difference. I don't really know enough about this. Maybe some of us can get some answers on this during the episode. But enjoy free picks. This is a Super Bowl hangover episode. This is a victory lap episode. This is a winner's pits episode. We're coming off a big winning night where I won over $2,000. Well, net over $1,500, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to go take a bathroom break, come back, and we're going to start at the bottom, take you all the way to the main event. Tatsuya Toara is fighting. He's undefeated. He impressed last time. That's the first fight of the night. So why don't you guys start us off? Take everybody through that card or that fight, and I'll be right back to the game.
Yeah, Luke's got a great point. I mean, out of the 24 fighters on the card, over 50% are from Asia, whether it be India, Indonesia, China, or Japan. There's a lot of Asian fighters on this card. You would have thought maybe this would be a good time to break into that time zone, but I wouldn't expect it to be in Las Vegas on this time zone. You know what I mean, Dan?
Yeah, so I'll just break in real quick. Apparently, this was supposed to be in Seoul, South Korea. All right, that's where it was originally supposed to be planned. Something happened. I don't know what. I'll dig into it a little bit more while you're making your pick, but it is officially moved to the Apex, so maybe this is their way of kind of appeasing that fan base that maybe even bought tickets out in Seoul. So they're trying to get them a time zone that's better for them.
Makes a ton of sense. And there is actually a tournament on this this card. There's 4 fights that are the last round of a tournament, Road to the UFC. I've never heard of this. It seems like it must be something going on in Asia because all the fighters, India, Indonesia, China, Korea, Japan, Korea. So there's all of the people that are involved in this tournament are from that region of the world. So that might be something that tied into putting it in South Korea as well. And like you said, they're probably just trying to appease the fans. But the first fight of the night, Tatsuro Tiara versus Jesus Aguilar Jesus. Dan, what do you think about this one?
So this is one of the few fights on the card where we have, a guy that I think most, diehard UFC fans are familiar with at this point, Tatsuro Taira, coming off a brilliant performance in his last bout where he's really showing off the jiu-jitsu, highly touted prospect from Japan. Remember, he got that armbar against CJ Vergara. I actually picked Vergara in that fight. Egg on my face. But yeah, this kid's coming off of 2 straight UFC wins. I think the UFC is definitely trying to put him in a good position in this fight, build up another prospect from the Asian region. And I'm going to pick him in this fight against Jesus Aguilar, who I believe is a UFC debutant. Am I correct on that, Alex?
Yes, he is. He's coming off the Contender Series with a guillotine choke win in the 3rd round against Arison Fiera. I didn't watch this fight. I don't know if he was dominating from bell to bell. I will admit that, the Carlos Candelario fight with Tatsuro Taira, it wasn't the best. I mean, it was dominant, but, Carlos had his moments for sure in that fight, if I remember correctly. I'm obviously gonna go with Tatsuro Taira here, but I'm not going to be afraid to sprinkle a little something on the first fight, maybe $5 on a plus 650 dog just to get a little bankroll for the night if my parlay blows up on the first one. And if Luke Triple P certifies this, we have a way better chance of losing this one on the first fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, how do I not pick Tetsuya Tiara in a fight where I saw what he could do, and I know the disparity of the Latin American community's grappling game in a lot of ways. This guy's coming out of Baja, California, Mexico, and I just don't know that. I mean, like, he's a plus 650 underdog for a reason, guys. It's because he's young like this guy, he's inexperienced like this guy, an 8-inch reach disadvantage, he's got a 3-inch height disadvantage, he's undersized. He's underskilled, no matter how you slice it. His grappling cannot be as good as Tiara's. So all Tiara has to do is take this guy down. And at 125 pounds with a height disadvantage, he's going to have no problem doing that. He's going to take him down. He's going to smoke him. Take Tiara, but take him by finish. Get better odds. Find a way to take him by submission maybe. Or maybe just take him by TKO, because you'll probably get plus odds at TKO, whereas by submission, they're going to give you minus 1,500 or a minus like 115 or something. So maybe you can get them at TKO plus 230, somewhere in that range. I think that's how you turn a minus 1,000 favorite into a dog, because he might not be able to get a choke in, but he might be able to just get a good position, make the ref stop it. But then again, this guy's a warrior. His name is Jesus for a reason. You can probably take a licking and keep on ticking. So I'm sure that he's more likely to get submitted than he is TKO'd.
But Luke, if he just keeps ticking 3 days later, that's still a TKO.
Very true. All right, well, next fight, we got a little guy we know very well named Iron Turtle, Jung Young Park, taking on Dennis Chalulin. Dan, why don't you take us away first?
Yeah, sure. I'm surprised you're letting me have this, because this is one of your favorite fighters. And I think from a MMA gambling perspective, he should be, because he is Mr. Consistent. You know that this guy is going to come in there, high octagon IQ, very strong takedown defense. He can strike with volume. He can strike with a little bit of power. Got a little bit of everything, and he really knows how to use it. Dennis Chalulin, on the other hand, not super impressed. Every time he really ran into any adversity in his fight career, meeting guys with a winning record, he's getting a lot of red on that resume. So, up until pretty late in 2019, he's fighting guys with 0-11 records. So I'm not all that impressed with Chalulin. Seems like every time, again, any fighter that has any credibility, he kind of falls short. So against a guy that's as consistent as Jung Young Park, I think this is a knockout for us. Let's go with the Iron Turtle. What do you say, guys?
Well, yeah. Hard for us. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I thought you wanted to round it off because he's your boy and all. I'm nervous. I don't really know too much about Dennis Chalulin. I know that he won against Jamie Pickett, which isn't that impressive. I know he lost to one of Habib's guys, right? Ali Shkabab Kaiser.
Right. Yeah,
so
black
what do we really gain from that? He beats a guy who underperforms all the time, and we beat a guy from a camp that overperforms quite a bit. So it's definitely tougher than it looks. If Chalulian can get him down and, have that Dagestani wrestling, that Russian wrestling, I don't necessarily know if he's one of those guys, though. I can't necessarily recall what happened in the Jamie Pickett fight. I was probably furious. Knowing Jamie Pickett, he probably tapped with like 1 second left in the round. I'm going to roll with Jung Young Park here just because it's what I know. It's what I love. He has crisp boxing. He's one of the most well-rounded up-and-coming fighters in the entire UFC. His only losses, Gregory Rodriguez, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, and Shavkat Rakhmonov. So this guy, he has great experience. And even in his first fight, dude, he fought somebody with 24 fights. 24 fights when he was 0-0, his first professional fight. So the guy wasn't 24-0, sorry, 13-11. I don't know if I said that. But nonetheless, still a dude with a boatload of experience when you have no fights. He looked really good against Eric Anders. I didn't think that should have been a split decision. He looked good against Joseph Holmes, looked good against John Phillips. Who doesn't? But the Tafon and Chukwi fight is the one that really stands out to me the most. That was where he really earned his worth, in my opinion. And even the Gregory Rodriguez fight didn't go down without a fight, and it was a standing TKO. He probably could have stayed in there a little longer. I'm going with Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle, crisp boxing, crisp takedown defense, not crip takedown defense. It's not Snoop Doggy Dogg. Luke, what do you think?
Well, what I think is that I said this was going to be an early predictions episode. I really emphasized the quick hits, the quick takes, and you just went on for a really long time there. And I know next week you're going to show up and you're going to be like, I already broke this down last week. So my thing is I want you to understand why we do the early predictions, right? So I'm just going to tell you. We do the early predictions to give quick takes, and then that gives us an ability.
You took 30 minutes to explain a screenshot. You could have put that on your fucking Instagram, you loser. Get the hell out of here. Don't come at me ever again and shut your fucking mouth.
Okay. What do you mean? A screenshot? What do you mean?
You were going through all the winning picks. You could have just put the screenshot up of the picks, and it would have been enough. Everybody would have been like, oh, Luke, good job. You won this weekend. You didn't have to be like, all right, guys, I was clenching my butthole for this one. It was really tight. I didn't know exactly what was going on. Dan was telling me I was losing. Alex is telling me I'm winning. Yeah, Luke. So, pot on the kettle black. Think before you speak. And if you come at the king, come correct.
You're the king now? You're the king?
Well, yes, it's in my name. It says it under the thing. It's Euro Wonder King. You ever heard of me?
Yeah. Okay. I'll save it for the Patreon, even though we're not doing a Patreon episode this week. I should just tell everybody how you were begging for me to cash out all the Patreon winnings so you could keep gambling on Glover to share. Good thing everybody
was
days to process the fucking payment because he would have wasted all your fucking money betting on Glover. And I told him that's irresponsible. I'm not cashing out any of the Patreon money. We're saving that to buy microphones and neon signs and all sorts of good.
Some of us went out of pocket for our microphones. We don't need our hard-earned money from our dying and loving loyal fan base to buy things that you should have had the first week we started this thing. Dude, if you come at the king, come correct. I'm gonna keep coming, Luke. Get your fucking neon sign.
I live in an apartment and I can't bolt it to the wall.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. But at least get a microphone.
Yeah,
Dan and I have the same exact microphone, same exact setup, and we've had it since. You can go back to the 15th episode of the show, 10th episode of the show, and I guarantee Dan and I are sitting here talking on microphones while Luke's still living in the dock ages.
All right, I will get a microphone by March.
We'll hold you to it.
In the month of February, I will acquire a microphone, and I
learned something in training today. You shouldn't set goals farther than 90 days out because people get burned out by the 90th day.
Okay, so yeah, I'm taking it 1 month at a time. I'm saying in February, I'm going to get a microphone. At some point in the month of February.
All right. Well, February is better than March. I'm happy to hear that it's turned into February.
It could be the last day of February, but it'll be before March.
Hey, just so you know, February has less days in the month than other ones. So make sure you count that into your.
So listen, I want to go with the Iron Turtle like you guys do. I'm a little nervous because I feel like this is a fight that he, like you said, he's going to get a knockout. I don't see him knocking out Chalulin whatsoever. Chalulin's got a thick neck. He's got, really like strong jaw. I don't see him getting knocked out by the Iron Turtle. I think that he can kind of go in there and fucking knock out the Iron Turtle, to be honest with you guys. I'm a little bit nervous about this one. I think the Iron Turtle he's a good boxer, but to me, he's not manly enough to beat Chalulin. He's not manly enough. You want me to say it? He's got a thin chin. He's got a thin chin, guys.
Is that your official pick?
I'm going to pick Chalulin officially.
All right.
Dang, man.
This is I know that I would pick Turtle here, but I know that I would be also wrong. He's got 4 times the experiences of Chalulin in the UFC. But just quick pick, quick take. This is too much man for Iron Turtle. This guy is going to fucking knock him the fuck out.
Hey, as Uncle Kale says, experience is not an advantage in the UFC. It just means you've accumulated more damage.
I think it's going to be like the Rodriguez fight. He's going to walk right up to him, and Park's going to be like, and he's going to be like, because I'm pissed off at Park, man. Park, he's too nonchalant in there sometimes.
All right.
I was going to say, Park must have done something as of late. But
No, I love the Iron Turtle, but not in this situation. Not as a favorite, not against Chalulin, not against a Russian, not as a minus 195. Missed me with that shit. He's fighting a guy who's got 2 inches.
Luke, not even with the Asian invasion coming. Like, do you see that 14 out of the 24 fighters on this card are coming from the Asian region?
I get you, dude. I get you, but they're in Vegas, and to me, it's like, who is more like?
Dan gave us clarification while you were gone. Did you hear?
What?
It was originally slated to be in South Korea.
yeah.
Then why is he the second fight of the card? This is like one of the most famous South Korean fighters.
Huh?
I said, why is he the second fight of the card? Then he's like one of the most famous South Koreans.
What about Doho Choi?
I'm just saying, why is he second?
I don't know.
Anyway,
they probably restructured it. They probably restructured it when they had to change it.
I'm going with Chalulin as a dog. It makes me uncomfortable, but I like that about it.
All right.
I
Luke's
like
getting out of his comfort zone. Our next bout, we have Ji-Yeon Kim versus Mandy Bohm. I'll start us off. I'm going to go with Ji-Yeon Kim. Coming off a 4-fight losing streak to Bohm's 2-fight losing streak. So this is going to be one hell of a bar burner of a fight. But Ji-Yeon Kim, if you look at her level of competition, we got, Jocelyn Edwards, Priscilla Cachoeira, Alexa Grasso, who's going to be fighting for the title next, whereas Mandy Bohm is losing to gals like Victoria Leonardo. Also, Ji-Yeon Kim, her last loss was a split. Loss before that was a fight of the night against Priscilla Cachoeira. She puts up a lot of volume, so all those things boding together, I think Kim is the pick here. Also, it's the South Korean fighter, so UFC might want to put her in a advantageous position at the point of matchmaking for this fight, thinking that it was going to be in South Korea. So the pick for me is Kim.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm left, right, or center on this one. This one's very tough. Both of these fighters are very unimpressive. Kim is 3-6 in the UFC. The older fighter at 33 years old. Actually, they're both 33 years old. Shit. Yeah, I think it's going to be dog or pass for me, just because I'm not going to trust Ji-Yeon Kim as a minus 300 or 265 favorite when she's lost her last 5 or 6 fights. Hasn't had a good win, and Jocelyn Edwards isn't that good either. She lost to Jessica Rose Clark. So I really don't know where to stand on this one. I'm leaning go over or take Mandy Bohm and leave it off of all my parlays entirely.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Ji-Yeon Kim. I liked her against Jocelyn Edwards. I mean, it didn't go her way, but she's got to get a win eventually. She's on like a 5-fight losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
4.
She's not 50 years old. She can learn. She can get better. It's supposed to be in her home country, meaning they probably give her a matchup that they thought would be at least some, and not that they give favorable matchups or anything like that, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'll go with her, and just on the idea that it can't keep coming up black, it's got to come up red eventually. You know what I mean? like the roulette wheel eventually has to come up red. Like she cannot keep fucking losing, you know. This next fight though, you got Hung Sung Park, Peace of Mind, taking on Seung-guk Choi. And you guys, listen, I'm not from Korea, so if I didn't get that phonetically correct, you know.
Which you surely did not, but that's okay.
No, I think I did. Let me know in the comments though how to say it phonetically. So you know, we'll go right now with acronyms. So we got HSP, good one to beat, right? HSP. It's kind of like GSP. Out of South Korea, 27 years old, 5'7", 66-inch reach, coming out of MMA Story gym. He's the 70th best MMA flyweight fighter, worldwide ranking. And you know, guys, here's the thing. Hasn't really fought anybody. Last opponent 8-3, opponent before that 6-2, opponent before that 6-3, opponent before that 0-0, 0-0, 4-4-5, 2-2. That's about it. Does have an amateur career fighting guys that are also amateurs and also low ranked. So, you know, hey, then again, I say he hasn't fought anybody, but when he was 5-0, he fought a 6-2 guy. When he was 6-0, he fought an 8-3 guy. When he was 7-0, he fought a 6-1 guy. So that's actually, or sorry, he's 7-0 now. He's fighting a 6-1 guy. So before that, 4-0, fought a 6-3 guy. So yeah, you know. He's staying around his competition level, which actually is smart. So he's on a 5-fight winning streak. He lost his debut in kickboxing, switched to MMA. That's all we really know about this guy. And anybody who tells you they know anything more about him is just lying to you. You know what I mean? Like they went and did research about him. They called a private investigator. They didn't. Nobody was a fan of these two guys before they came and talked to you about them. So don't let them fool you. But I will tell you that 26-year-old Choi Sung-guk is the 92nd best MMA flyweight fighter in the world. So he's 22 ranking points above the guy I just described. This guy is, you know, training with Korean Zombie. That's not bad. But again, hasn't really fought anybody. When he was 0-0, he fought a 1-1 guy. When he was 1-0, he fought a 1-1 guy. When he lost, and then he fought an 0-0 guy when he was 1-1, a 1-2 guy when he was 2-1. He fought an 0-0 guy when he was 3-1. He fought an 8-3 guy when he was 4-1. But again, these are all guys out of the road to UFC 1, right? Like this is like I think the promotion that Korean Zombie runs out of South Korea. Road to UFC.
It's like an Ultimate Fighter type thing.
Yeah, he has a lot
this
more.
This is the end of the tournament, Luke. This is the last round of the tournament. I think winner gets a UFC contract.
He's got a lot of amateur experience. He's also got a lot more losses in amateurs than this guy, though. So to me, he's not the better fighter. He's fighting in a Korean Zombie's gym. Korean Zombie's not that good. If that's your hero, I know what to expect. I think Park gets the win. Give me Park HSP 6-1 to defeat this man.
HSP, peace of mind. I'm gonna give you
to defeat the 6-1 guy. Sorry, Alex.
I'm gonna give you a piece of my mind. I'm taking HSP as well. And here's why. I'm looking at these guys, and I'll be honest, I haven't watched these guys fight once. I haven't seen a lick of their fights unless they were on my Instagram Reels algorithm. I'm going with the 27-year-old peace of mind. I think that he just looks like a sturdier guy. This Seung-guk Choi, he's a skinny guy. He's slight of frame, very skinny. This other guy's big, bulky, thicker neck. That's one of the Triple P tenets right here. If you have a thick neck, you're a boy that I like to roll with. So I'm definitely going with peace of mind on this one. Dan, what do you think?
Going to Triple P certify this one. Go with HSP, Mr. Park himself, for all the reason that you boys said. And also when we're looking at this resume, I'm seeing a lot more finishes, a lot more of a finishing rate under Mr. Park than his opponent. So I think when we're picking fights like this, where we're playing HR and just picking a resume here, Park is the way to go. So let's Triple P certify that bad boy.
I like
what
that.
We got next, Alex?
Next up, Rainya Nakamura versus Toshiomi Kazama. And from the picture on Tapology, Dan, Rainya Nakamura is an Olympian, an Olympic wrestler, at least a world team wrestler. Based on this, he just took out one of the Indian wrestlers, it looks like, if my flag knowledge serves me correct, in this picture, and he's flexing hard. He's looking like a freaking tank, dude. And if you're an Olympian, and especially in a country like Japan, Japan's a pretty good wrestling country. It doesn't get as much respect as they deserve, especially in like Greco. They're pretty good at freestyle as well. But I think Japan is probably a top 10 competitive country in the world for wrestling. India is another one that's kind of slept on. I got to go with Reina Nakamura here, not knowing either of these guys very well. I think he had 2 fights on the road to the UFC, and this other fella, Toshimo Kazuma, he only had 1. So I would think that the competition on the road to the UFC scene is a little bit tougher, even though the guy he fought was 27-11. So getting a unanimous decision over a guy with damn near 40 fights is pretty impressive, especially coming off of a flying knee loss in the fight before that, coming out strong. This guy looks like a bit of a submission grappler based on his record. He's got a triangle choke, arm lock, heel hook, punches from twister position. Wow, that's pretty badass. Arm bar and then ground punches. So it seems like he's a little one-dimensional, but have fun getting an Olympic wrestler to the ground, or at least if he's not an Olympic wrestler, if he's a world stage wrestler, he's good enough, even if he didn't make the Olympic teams. Luke?
Yeah, I was going to say, how do we know he's an Olympic wrestler? Because I'm guessing you're looking at the Tapology picture. It's just him in a wrestling singlet. Like
it looks like it's a national wrestling.
It looks big. It does look
competition big. Where he's obviously going against somebody from a different country. It's not like it's like inter-country games. I would think it's at least some type of world tournament, whether it's worlds or.
I gotcha.
Like it looks like he has a little bit more wrestling experience than a guy who's just taking people down, heel hooking them and arm locking them. And I mean, that twister is impressive, and wrestlers oftentimes put themselves in that twister position. So we could see a submission potentially, but you guys know me. I roll with wrestling over jiu-jitsu any day of the week.
Yeah, so I'm going to second that and also go with Rinya Nakamura. Love having the wrestling foundation going into a fight like this. He also has a win via left high kick, so he seems like he could possibly do it all. And look, on top of that, he's a minus 450 favorite, so seems like he's the side on this one. Not too much else to say. Luke, where are you going on this?
I like the favorite here too. The other guy kind of has a weird haircut in this picture and looks a little bit more feminine. And this guy looks just like a brute, thick neck, man's man. Just going off looks alone, Tapology pictures alone. I love what you said, play in HR, going off only resumes. I like the favorite here. But Alex, what you said sticks in my craw about how wrestlers put themselves in twister positions, and this guy's going to win by twister. I wish we could find a book to bet for him to win by twister. I bet it would be like 30-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been done like 2 times in the UFC.
Yeah, it should be like 100-1.
Yeah, it should be some crazy odds. But Dan, I just looked up his wrestling credentials here, and it looks like in 2018 he wrestled at the Freestyle World Cup, and he got 2 wins, one against Tomar Sandeep, and then another one versus Lomadedze Lasha from Georgia. So this guy, he definitely has some wrestling experience. That's as far as it goes for 2023. Like since then, I don't know if the United World Wrestling website is as updated as like the UFC rankings and stuff like that. So he probably has had some more world experience, but he was at least in the Freestyle World Cup in 2018.
I think we should do an about face and all take the underdog here.
Do what?
An about face and all take Kazuma, the underdog, because you're telling me he's a good wrestler. You're telling me he's got twister victories. You're telling me like he's got double the fights. Like to me, it's like, why are we not taking this guy at plus 330?
I thought the other guy had the wrestling credentials that Alex is talking about.
Yeah. No, Nakamura has the wrestling credentials, and wrestling guys can often get stuck in those twister positions, is what I was saying. The Nakamura is the one with the twister. Luke, he didn't just win by twister; he won by punches from twister position. So that's pretty fucking cool.
Cool. Well, guys, these are the early predictions, but it turns out we're doing a deep dive. So let's move on. Zai versus Jung Lee. 9-1, 5th ranked featherweight out of South Korea. Lee is taking on Yi. Lee versus Yi. 21-3 Lee, number 1 featherweight out of China. So what do we like better? The number 5.
What say ye, Dan? What say ye, Dan?
Wait, no. Dan already went first once. I want to take this one first. 24 fights versus 10 fights. Number 1 guy out of China that has 10 to 15 billion people population versus Lee, number 5 ranked featherweight out of South Korea that has a couple 100,000 population. Guys, look up the populations of those two countries. I'm saying I'm going with Yi. Easy pick for me. Number 1 guy ranked out of China. Say no more.
Is Korea communist?
No.
All
South
right,
Korea? No.
I was just making sure
wait,
because Luke in China, they picked that job for him as a
man,
fighter.
I call a country that forces you into the military a communist country. I mean, that's a communist country to me. They're forcing you to join the fucking government state-operated killing apparatus. And do 3 years
so do we sometimes.
Service. That's communism.
So do we sometimes.
No, yeah, we.
There you go. That's our little politics section of the day. I'm going to go with Jong-Young Lee. Based on aesthetics, look at him. He's absolutely shredded. I think the Korean Tiger is, he's showing a little bit more of a diverse skill set as far as how he's finishing, whether it's with the right hook, whether it's with the arm bar. We all know how technical the arm bar is in the jiu-jitsu game. But listen, regardless, I'm still going to go with my guy here, the Korean Tiger, I believe his nickname is. Again, guys, what do you want me to do here? I'm really pulling hairs here. I don't know.
Bro, I'll tell you what I want you to do. Go with the plus 200 underdog who's got double the fights, 26 years old, a little bit younger, but still, competitive enough there. Yeah, he's got a 3-inch height and reach disadvantage. But my guy over here, Za Yi, Za, he's the number 1 ranked guy in China, dude. He's only got 1 loss. That's 2 years ago. This other guy hasn't lost in a while either. But I'm going with the guy that I like here.
Okay. Good pick.
All
Good
right.
pick.
All right. I don't know what to do here because, in one sense, I completely understand where Luke's coming from. Za Yi, he has the experience. He's younger. But then you take a little deeper dive into this experience, right? And you see...
This is the quick pick show. This is the quick pick show. We're not taking deep dives.
Luke, shut the fuck up, bro. I'm going to kill you. All right. Whenever
it's a quick pick show, it really just means the unprepared show where everyone's studying in real time. We should call this the learn with me. I try to give you guys a bailout. I say just make it quick gut picks and just go, oh man, all right, gut pick.
Dude, this isn't
You'll have an opportunity to
this isn't a deep dive. I'm just gonna tell you what the fuck I'm looking at right now. Yeah, he has way more experience. Yeah, he's younger. But if you look at other guys coming out of Wolf Wars, you got Zhu Rong, who went 16-2, 1-2 in the UFC. Then you got the Mongolian Murderer, 13-4 in Wolf Wars, and he's 2-2 in the UFC. So that is what I was trying to say, bro. Wolf Wars fucking sucks. And they all go out there and they get their first round submission win against somebody who has no record whatsoever. And then they come in the UFC and get lambasted, especially as debutants coming on the big stage. I'm going with Jae-Young Lee right here. I know it's not a fucking spicy pick. It's no plus 230 dog. But it's the right pick. And that's what you have to do because Wolf Wars stinks. And yeah, granted, this guy was in Wolf Wars as well, but you can't hold all of that record for like you can't hold that record into anything at all.
Straight up, listen, no harm done. I feel you. I'm sorry I rose your passion. Okay. But this next fight, did Danny give his pick yet?
No.
Yeah, no, I did.
Like, I'm looking at these next 2 fights, and it's
fine. Give me Zan Yi. Give me.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, I don't know any of these people on this card, and it's just like, this is the worst. To come off the winning weekend, I was so excited to do today's episode, and this is the offering. It's not even next weekend. I'm unstudied, and I'm drunk, and I have to give my picks on these fights of all fights. It's like I could do this in my sleep most times. When you give me a bunch of debutantes from a part of the world I'm not familiar with, what am I supposed to do?
It's okay. Give it a gut pick. Go from your gut. Next
right, let's
fight,
do it.
I'm going to put Luke on the spot. We got Anshul Jubilee versus Jekka Saragi. Luke, who are you picking?
I mean, you got number 1 lightweight ranked guy out of the Asia South, number 4 ranked lightweight guy out of the Asia South. The King of the Lions.
Going with how badass the nickname is.
Number 1 in South Asia.
No. I'm going with the King of the Lions.
All right, I'm going to second that. Anshul Jubilee. I have many extended family from India. Love the Indians. If we know anything about them, they're hardworking, determined, and you can't keep them down, baby. Let's go, Anshul Jubilee. It's going to be Jubilee in India 2 Saturdays from now. Let's go.
I'm more of a Pakistan guy myself, but I think I'm going to roll with you guys and join the Jubilee on this one. But something, I don't know, man. Something about this, I'm just a little hesitant to take him. This makes sense because they're near even. I'm gonna go with the slight favorite in Anshul Jubilee.
Okay, fantastic. Oh my god.
What do you? Oh my god! And was that not quick enough for you?
No, I made a loud noise. I dropped my cell phone.
Okay.
Baby sleeping next door. I was like, fuck, how can I be that stupid?
All right, well, our next fight is someone that
you're not fathers. You know nothing about that. So you know nothing about having a sleeping baby and just wanting her to stay sleeping. Okay.
Well, we kind of know about that.
While you do your podcast. While you do your podcast. Hey, Daddy's got a podcast. Okay.
Ooh.
Daddy's got a podcast.
Well, as Dan said, we would know about it because you were telling us to shut up all weekend when you decided to bring a baby to a party.
Hey, don't say things like that. Okay. Because Madison's gonna see this one day, and she's gonna say, "Yeah, my dad was cool. He wanted me to have fun with everybody and be a part of it all." And my uncle Alex was a dickhead and was like, what? Like, what did she do to interrupt your good time? You certainly seem to let the good times roll in spite of a child being there.
I wasn't saying you ruined my good times. You ruined my good times. She was sitting there sleeping like a little perfect angel.
When did I ruin your good time? I whipped your ass and gave you $100 for no good reason except because I felt bad for you and your girlfriend because of your degeneracy and your crackheadedness.
Luke, don't start with me, Luke. Don't start with me. What's worse, betting $150 on the night or betting $700 $900 to maybe get your balls smashed in on that? I would never put $500 on one fight. Especially Terrence McKinney, a guy who tucked tail and couldn't even come on the Perfect Parlay Pursuit. Hey, Terrence, you want to come on the show now? You want to come on the show now that the spotlight's off you? Or no, you want to take shots with the guy who just sent you into the shadow realm?
Terrence certainly will not be going on Barstool because they were memeing him. Robbie Fox, he has a bone to pick with Robbie Fox now because Robbie Fox was like, Terrence just said he doesn't like Barstool. What happened to him? And Terrence was like, I don't fuck with Barstool. This was Robbie Fox. So that was interesting that you said that because I bet he would come on our show. Now, the thing is, it was a misunderstanding, guys. I didn't pursue him because I didn't want to bother him. I didn't want to be – I'm not a cleat chaser. I'm not a clout chaser. I don't go after people, you know what I mean? It's like I hit him up once. If it doesn't work out, I'm not going to break my back. And after the whole, no new guests thing we're doing, I'm especially not trying to reach out to anybody new. Also, the Hamdi Abdelawali, the Abdellawaluigi thing, that was also discouraging. So I've been, once you hurt me, I say, hey, I'm gonna stick to my wife, Joe Selecki. Okay, on the show, I'm not gonna cheat on him. He can come on the show. That's that. Okay.
Exactly. I feel that. I thought I had a lot of friends. I'm cutting them off one by one, and they're friends of the pod, friends of this, friends of that. You're gone. You're gone. You wrong me again. You're gone. Cutting the ties.
Now listen. Let me say this though. You said what's better? Oh, you only lost like $150, but I was at risk of losing many hundreds of dollars. Well, I'll ask you, what's worse? Begging on your knees like a dog for me to cash out the Patreon money so you can bet on Glover Teixeira by submission round 2, or me accounting for my own mistakes and owning up to my own missteps.
If you own
And then
up to your own mistakes,
I'm not done. Don't interrupt me. That's a womanly trait. Owning up for my own mistakes and coming out on top a winner and still paying it forward and giving you guys 20% of my winnings between the two of you. Now, you didn't get 10%. You got 5. Dan got 15 because you exhibited poor behavior. And I want you to know that because I would have rewarded you if you had not done what you faded me. You were trying to bet against me. I stood to win money that I would have literally cleaned up your losses with, and you were trying to have me cash out company cash, which might be even illegal. I don't even think you're allowed to gamble with company cash. So
it's not company cash.
Here you are again meddling in the realms of federal crimes. And when it comes down to it,
Luke, it's not company cash once you give me my payroll, bro. Once you
know,
give me my payroll that you had said on the episode last week, that is why my passion came out. And I said, Lukey, dadgummit, where the hell is my Patreon money?
It was really hard to explain to Brooke, Mom, why I gave you guys money. And what's even funnier is that Laura had the same reaction as Brooke. And I think it's because they both are like, wait, like Laura was like, holy, like Laura was so surprised because she wouldn't, why she was surprised? Because she would never have advised you to give me money.
Oh no.
These women are chiseling. They're very chiseling.
Cold-hearted.
Yes. But they need to understand that, this is Tony Soprano. Alex is kind of like, he's Alex is. He's.
Don't say it.
No, you're Adriana's husband. What's his name?
Christopher Moltisanti.
Christopher Moltisanti. Dan. Who's Dan?
Fat big pussy.
No.
He's a snake, dude. Every time I'm watching a fight and
Dan
has no money on it, he's like, nah, your guy's losing.
Dan Still. No, not Still. Dan is Paulie. Dan's Paulie.
He doesn't have the gumption for that. He doesn't have the gumption for that. He doesn't have big enough bulls to be Paulie. Yeah,
you're right. Paul's former military. You're right. Dan's more of a still. Anyway, let's move on.
Or Carmella.
We have a lot of fights to get through.
Or Carmella.
These are the quick picks. No. Brooks Carmella. Obviously.
Who's his fine-ass daughter? I want to be his fine-ass daughter. I don't want to be Moltisanti.
Who?
Tony's fine-ass daughter.
Listen, you never talk about Meadow like that. Actually, of all the characters of the show, you're more like AJ. you little crackhead. You're more like AJ. You're like AJ in real life, except you haven't hit rehab and cleaned yourself up yet. You got a show on your mom's house. That's who you are. You need to get.
Bro, I've only seen the second season. I didn't see. I only saw up to the second season. I didn't see when he went to rehab.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about in real life. The actor that plays him. I'm saying he's a good guy. That guy, I forget his name, but he's a good dude. And you need to get right with the Lord, Alex, and clean yourself up a little bit. Because
no, I'm going on John Bernthal's podcast next week.
You're going on real ones. All right, you should go on real ones, but here's the thing. You're not. You're in between worlds. You're not even real enough to be a real one, but you haven't reformed enough to just be with regular society. So decide where you're going to be. You need to do more crimes or less, but you're floating in the realm of just.
I'm trying to do more crimes. Every time I talk about doing more crimes on the podcast, you tell me to shut up. Jokes, strictly jokes.
And, I think when I come back as a heavyweight, I'll try to do more legally controversial shit.
Did that even play? Did that even play?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I'm trying to do more legally controversial shit.
If you can communicate this product, you can make money off the product.
I have a hard time communicating the product. And that's why the Patreon has made no money.
All right, next we got a little listen, guys, listen, I'm only doing one edit this episode, so we got to be very careful with this next guy's name, okay?
So watch your mouth.
Okay, we got Adam F taking on Yusaku K. So I'm not risking it. I'm not risking the YouTube demonetization, guys, even though we're not monetized. I'm not risking it. Okay, so I'm not risking the personal demonetization. To me, I'm going with the 12 years age disadvantage. The only problem with this one, guys, is that they were sending Adam over to Japan or South Korea, wherever this fight was going to happen, at 34 years old to fight a 22-year-old at 12 years age disadvantage. They were sending him over there to lose. But the problem is now we're bringing in a guy from Japan to fight a guy from Oregon who's got to drive 3 hours to get to Vegas. So I'm going with Adam, the plus 210 underdog. USA all the way. Adam he's got from what I see here, a clear reach advantage. I'm going with Adam.
It's funny that you were so nervous to say Adam's name because there's a different person on this card whose name we've already said that I would have danced around a little bit more than this one. Adam Fugget. Luke's going with Luke's saying Fugget and going with Fugget. I can't do it. I don't think my heart could handle it, Dan. I really don't think my heart could handle betting on Adam Fugit and watching him getting his ass kicked. But Yusaku, he's not necessarily the most experienced guy either. I'll probably play the over on this one. Granted, they're 170. It might be like 1.5, 2.5. But I'm just not trusting my money on Adam Fugit. But I don't want to take Yusaku as a minus 300 favorite. Yeah, this is probably going to be a no bet for me on most parlays, but I'll go with Yusaku.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Adam Fugit from the Puget Sound, baby. What's that?
Switching to Adam Fugit.
There we go.
Yeah, awesome. We were on an island by ourselves last week, so got to learn from my mistakes.
Awesome. Take a look back at his UFC debut against Michael Morales. Highly touted prospect. And Fugit was making a lot of people's palms sweaty, man. He was taking it to Morales. So I really liked what I saw. I think he's going to have like a 6 or 7 inch reach advantage going into this bout against a guy, again, never fought in the UFC. Now, his whole world is flipped upside down. He thought he was going to be fighting in Seoul, South Korea. Now he's going to be coming a whole plane trip over to Las Vegas. We're on home turf if we're talking about Fugit here. So I think that is the side I want. In a scrappy fight like this, when you got an underdog at plus 235, why not take the shot? Let's go with Adam Fugit from the Puget Sound.
Dan, do you know how long that plane ride is? Probably like an hour at most, right?
But no. An hour?
Yeah,
no.
At most.
No, it's not an hour at most, dude. What are you talking about?
From Philly to Boston is like 45 minutes, 30 minutes.
Philly to Boston is 5 hours.
You're mentally handicapped. 5 hours to take a plane?
Okay, clearly Luke's talking about driving. You're talking about flying.
Yeah, I flew first class from Boston to Philly, and maybe that's why I went faster. I don't know why, but it was like a 35-minute flight from Boston to Philly. So how could it be any longer than an hour from Oregon to Las Vegas? I mean, I guess.
Oh, I thought you were talking about from South Korea to Vegas.
No, I'm talking about Adam Fugit because Luke said it was like a 3-hour drive.
It's like an hour. It's be like an hour.
Yeah, that's no problem at all. Do you think he's getting a layover? Do you think they really want him to lose? They're giving him a layover in LA first?
I would drive. Even if it was 5 or 6 hours, I would drive.
Why?
Because you're going to be in airport security. You're going to be sitting at the airport. A lot of radiation. A lot of
you can refuse that. You can refuse.
A lot of 5G. A lot of 5G at the airport. It's going to be a lot of. What did Nick Diaz say? He was like, when I landed in Canada, I had all that toxic plane water in me, and I had to go work out to get it all out of me because if you have that toxic water.
What, did they give you cups of water on the plane in Canada? Like, they don't give you fucking Deer Park or Poland Springs? Like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, they were giving him a lot of toxic water.
Oh my gosh, dude. Canada is back asswards. Nobody should go to Canada ever.
I don't know. But Nick Diaz told you, he said, when you fly, he said you have to go and take a sauna, sweat out. He said you got to sweat out all the toxic water that your body retains when you fly. He's not wrong. You're getting radiation from the airport security. You get radiation.
I fly in a hazmat suit, so
you get even more. I don't even let them X-ray me. I say opt out.
That's what I was about to say. What radiation if you opt out of the X-ray?
Every time I say opt out, and they pat me down, and it makes me.
But make sure you tell them if you have any injury whatsoever, because the way they fondle my nuts at the airport, like, I was like, next time I go, I'm making sure I'm like, hey, be careful down low, all right, boys. I'm having a bit of an issue.
Well, you should have told them before.
I didn't know they were gonna feel me up like that.
Well, did you tell them during?
I already went through the X-ray. I had already gone through the X-ray, and they were like, you got bomb juice on you, and they were like, where we see it is on your butt or on your dick, like the area that was glowing, and I was like,
I'm gonna edit this out. I'm gonna edit this out.
Why?
I'm gonna edit this part out. Or do you not want me to? I'll leave it in.
1 hour, 40 minutes, 45 seconds, Luke.
I got
write it down.
I get searched at the airport every time I go, dude. When you look like me, they fucking search you every single time you go, no matter what you have on you.
You got to let them know that you're a sports hernia veteran, okay? Yeah, I'm a veteran. Sports hernias.
No. You guys were talking about being Instacart veterans. I got hurt in the line of duty. This wasn't sports hernia. This was working hernia. This was working man's hernia. I was on the front lines during the pandemic, gloves on in the grocery store, picking things out. And all of a sudden I get a hernia from trying to support my local old people, dropping off their groceries to their house.
Listen. We got 4 fights left. Before we get into that, let's all go round robin and say our favorite moment of the weekend. Go.
Favorite moment of the weekend.
Involving us 3.
Watching Luke fall snowboarding and then get up and try to act like nothing happened and hold his wrist like he broke it, and then immediately catching an edge and falling on the exact same wrist again. It was the funniest thing. I'm just kidding. No, it was the camaraderie with the boys. I love watching fights with you guys. I wish we could do it a little bit more often. We're a little spread apart. Maybe we can get some digital fights in together one of these days and live stream it or something. But I really like watching fights with the boys. I was hugging Dan for a pick that I forgot to even make, or was on a parlay that I'd already lost. And it was a great experience.
Yeah, my favorite moment was Alex whispering into my ear, Glover Teixeira by submission. Glover Teixeira by submission, Dan. Bet it. Bet it for me, please. Please bet it for me.
I didn't say that to you.
You did say that. You said that.
No, I didn't. I said bet it for yourself. He was going to win in the second round by submission. If you did it, you would have been the catalyst.
Oh, yes, by the second round. That's right.
Second round. I said lock it in. You need it. You need this, Danny. You need $12 in your life.
I didn't have a favorite moment.
Wow, fuck you.
It was all my favorite. No, let's see, favorite moment. I think my favorite moment was probably when Brandon Moreno, when the doctor stopped the fight.
Actually, switch that. My favorite moment was every time I went upstairs to a room full of Giants fans and act like I didn't know the Eagles got a touchdown.
Oh, that was my least favorite moment. That joke died so hard, so fast.
Hey, what's going on in the game? I didn't see it because we had 2 TVs downstairs, but the big screen had the Eagles game upstairs.
We'll talk about this off air. All right. Okay, so we're on the Patreon. Next week's Patreon, guys. Patreon.com/PerfectPursuit. You can listen, by the way, DM me in the Patreon if you're like, yo, what did Alex mean when what did you edit out? Like, I'll tell you if you join the Patreon.
He's an open book, folks.
Doohoo Choi taking on Kyle Nelson. I'm going with Sting here. What do you guys got? How's that for quick picks? I
think he changed his name. I think he's the Korean Superboy now. That's what Tapology has him listed as.
Ooh, that's discouraging. But
brand change. You don't like a brand change. But Kyle Nelson stinks. Canada stinks. Canada, pretty much communist. We're going with South Korea all day. The Korean Superboy, Doho Choi. A time in recent memory, Doho Choi was the hottest up-and-coming prospect in the featherweight division and then kind of fell off hard. I think it was after he fought Cub Swanson or something. I'll have to look back at it. But no 2 Chainz. But I'm going to go with Doho Choi here. I was always a big Doho Choi fan. I loved playing him in UFC 2. He had crazy striking. Doho Choi all the way.
Yeah, Choi had awesome striking. He was one of my favorites when he was on the up and up as well. And you're exactly right. After that Cub Swanson fight, he just kept racking up the injuries, and I just don't know if I can trust him anymore. Kyle Nelson, on the other hand, is like the complete opposite. He's like he's like the Canadian mountain man. I feel like he's not going to get injured. I feel like he's going to be very durable. I think he's a little bit overlooked. He faces some good competition, like Billy Quarantillo loses those fights. Okay, whatever. Everyone loses to Billy Q once in a while. I might go with Kyle Nelson here, big underdog value. I think this card has a lot of underdog spots that we could possibly look to snipe out. So 2 out of 3 going with the dog, Kyle Nelson.
Okay, so Blagoy Ivanov taking on Marcin Tybura. So, Blagoy Ivanov, a bit of a decision machine. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decisions in his career. But to me, it's looking like his last fight was a decision. His last loss was a decision. Last 2 losses were decisions. Last 3 losses were decisions. And then from there, you got, decision wins here and there. But basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of his last fights, all 7 in a row, have been a decision. So wheels got to come up black sometime. That's what I always say, right? Everybody always wants to be like, oh, the stats say this guy always does this. And, for 10 years, it's always been this. And I always wake up to the morning headlines and it goes, first time in 10 years. I always, so whenever I hear that, I always go, once you hear about it, it's too late kind of thing. It's like a stock. So I almost like the under in this one. You got a 36-year-old, they don't possess the cardio late in life to contend. 37-year-old, Marcin Tybura, 16-fight UFC veteran. I like Marcin Tybura for the side. He was scheduled to fight Blagoy back 2021, March 2021. I really like Marcin here, just as far as strength of schedule, cardio, a lot of different factors. He beat Alexander Romanov, who I love, gave him his first loss. Something I'd love to forget. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Marcin Tybura in spades here. What do you guys think?
I love Marcin Tybura in this matchup as well. I think he's going to be about 4 inches taller and have about 5 inches of reach on him. I think he's a little bit more well-rounded, has some more power. Blagoy has disappointed as of late, so I'm not really all that high on him going into this fight. Tybura, a one-time, not kind of like a, like the dark horse for the belt, not really a super serious contender, but he is up there. He's making a little bit of a run. So I think this is going to be the resurgence of Marcin Tybura going into the Saturday night fight night.
I think you take Marcin, and then I think you take the under in a separate bet to kind of hedge against if Blagoy storms him and finishes him. It's a big boy fight, 2 old men, but I don't think either of them stand to go 3 rounds.
I'm going to go Marcin Tybura here. I actually kind of disagree with that. I think Ivanov is very durable. He's been through a lot of fights where, he doesn't really look too fazed by what's going on. But I'm mostly taking Tybura here because Ivanov's like a guy like Alir Latifi, where he wins a lot of fights pretty much just by pushing guys against the cage, wearing him down and all that jazz. But Marcin Tybura is a different beast, and if you want to get him into that type of match, you're the one that's going to be in a world of hurt. Marcin Tybura is going to get this done easily. I think Marcin Tybura is probably my most confident pick on this card right now.
Agreed.
All right, Triple B certified Marcin Tybura, great value too, coming in under -200 odds. I love it. Guys, Da Un Jung and Devin Clark, the common theme I see here is that both guys are coming off knockouts. Both floating around 20 fights and both coming off knockouts, and both, in my opinion, coming back too soon. You need at least 6 months. You get knocked out, you got to take 6 months. I think 4.
Jung has had 6 more than 6.
Depending on the knockout, I think 2 to 4 of the 6 should be straight recovery. And that could be any way you want to slice it. I'm saying, maybe you get knocked out bad, you take a month off completely. Next month you're jogging, running, sprinting, getting your cardio back in line. Next month, maybe you're back to some grappling stuff. Next month, maybe you're back to some, from the feet takedowns with grappling. And then by month 5, you're back to full contact sparring. And then by month 6, you can maybe take a fight, right? But I'm saying that's best case scenario. These two guys got knocked out 5 months and 1 week ago and 4 months and 3 weeks ago. So both of them, in my opinion, coming back too soon. I like the guy on the right side of 30 here. I'm going with Da Un Jun.
Yeah, I got to go with Da Un Jun as well. You look at the losses. Devin Brown Bear Clark. He has much worse losses. Ryan Spann, Anthony Smith, Ian Kutabella. Yes, Alexander Rakic is a good one. Jan Blachowicz is a good one. But I don't know who Alex Nicholson is. A lot of these guys they've lost to are more on the edge of contendership than they are, or past their prime than they are, or where they were when they were at their peak. I'm going with Da Un Jung here because he's coming off a loss against an absolute hammer in Dustin Jacoby, and Dustin Jacoby can put anybody away in the division. And in my opinion, Dustin Jacoby hasn't lost a UFC fight. The Khalil Roundtree split decision bullshit, or at least in his last stint in the UFC before he went back over to kickboxing. I think he fought earlier in his career. Yes, against Chris Camozzi and Clifford Starks, and beat Tim Williams, the South Jersey Strangler. Fun fact. But since he's gotten back in the UFC, he has 1 loss and 1 draw. The draw was a split draw, and then the loss was a split decision. So I thought he won that Khalil Roundtree fight. I thought he won that Ian Kutabella fight. Dustin Jacoby is an absolute beast. Losing to him is no, don't take any feathers out of your cap because of that. Da Un Jung is a dog. I think he's going to go out there and he's going to beat Devin Clark. Devin Clark sometimes has a good game plan, and he kind of gets into that even off sense where he's pushing guys up against the cage, winning rounds with a lack of activity rather than winning for activity. But Devin Clark, inexperienced on the ground, not that good on the feet. His best attribute is his physicality and pushing people up against the cage. So I got to go with Da Un Jung. What is that name? Seda? That's a cool name.
I'm going to go with Devin Clark on this one. I think we're underrating his grappling here. I think he definitely can take Da Un Jung to the mat. I think it's just a case of we're overrating one fighter, underrating another. I've seen Young gas out. I've seen him get really sloppy. And I've seen, Devin Clark, his losses are against, title contenders and, the likes of that. So, again, we're dealing with a dog value of plus 200 plus here. So I like this play a lot. And again, I think this card has a lot of underdog value all over it. So I'm looking for a very large, perfect parlay payout, whatever that might be, whatever combination that might be. I'm thinking it's going to be pretty big, and I want to be on the right side of that. So give me Devin Clark, the Brown Bear, in this one. I'm digging it.
Then only one fight remains. Luke made a pick for that one, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay. The last fight of the night. Derek the Black Beast Lewis versus Sergey Spivak the Polar Bear. This sounds like some type of Godzilla movie with these type of names. A polar bear versus a black beast? You're kidding me. This is nuts. I don't want to go with Sergey Spivak, and here's why. He has some knockout losses. Walt Harris knocked him out in the first round. And yeah, every dog has his day. But the big ticket, is that his name? The big ticket, he's not very good. Derek Lewis can definitely keep the polar bear off of him, in my mind, better than Walt Harris could. You look at his wins. Tai Tuivasa. He's never smelled a pair of wrestling shoes in his life. Certainly never did a shoey out of one. Carlos Felipe. I'm pretty sure he's not in the UFC anymore. Jared Vendera should not be in the UFC anymore. Alexei Oleinik. Old as shit. Greg Hardy, not in the UFC anymore. Augusto Sagai shouldn't be in the UFC anymore if he is. That's not the most outstanding record. His losses, Walt Harris, Marcin Tybura, and Tom Aspinall. Yeah, 2 of those fighters are good. One of those good fighters is great. One of those fighters they lost to, bad. All the fighters he beat, not very good. And some of them are bad, and I'm not going to make the description of which one's which. I'm going to go with the Black Beast here. I think in a 5-round bout, Derek Lewis is in it till the end. I think that Sergey Spivak will waste a lot more energy trying to take Derek down and keep Derek down than Derek Lewis is going to expend getting up. And I think even if he's tired, he could still clean his clock. And this guy has shown that he's been knocked out in the past. 2 of his 3 losses are by knockout. Derek Lewis all day, inside the distance. I think this is probably like a 2nd or 3rd round knockout. In my opinion, I don't think it's going to be a 1st round. It might be a little bit of a gritty 1st round, a little lack of action. But I think the 2nd round, Derek Lewis knocks him out.
Yeah, I totally agree with that evaluation. I can't believe that Lewis at this point in time is a plus 195 dog, especially with everything that you're saying about Spivak's resume and the guys he's beaten and where they are now. Listen, guys, Spivak has to take down Lewis for 5 rounds. This is a main event, right? He's got to take him down all 5 rounds, whereas Lewis has to land that 1 shot. And listen, Lewis has proven to have a pretty good get-up game. Right? Many times he's been taken down, but how long does he stay down for? He usually finds a way to get up with some strongman jiu-jitsu. He literally just gets up. There's no technique to it. He's like, I'll do exactly what I would normally do to stand up, and I'll stand up. So I think that, the amount of energy it's going to take to keep that guy down over the course of 25 minutes is going to be too much. And there will be an uppercut finding its way home at some point in time during this fight.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know that there was only 1 fight left to break down. I thought that it sounded like somebody was having a party upstairs. Like it was just constant pounding on my ceiling. Doom, 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 doom. Like somebody was jumping up and down. I was like, and at first I was like, is there a kid up there that's like jumping on his bed? But it woke my daughter up like both times. Me podcasting did not wake her up. This did. So I come out. I'm like, I'm hearing this now. I'm like, what is going on? So I go up, I knock on the door. They don't answer, but it's just some older woman, and she's on her treadmill. That's all it was. But, dude, we have a gym on the fucking premises. We go to that treadmill. Why do you have a fucking treadmill? What's going on? So I'm going to have to give her a Starbucks gift card, honestly. I feel bad.
Yeah.
Oh, you actually talked to her and everything?
No, I went up there, and I was like, is everything okay? It sounds like someone's coming through the ceiling. I'm like, are you having a party? She's like,
Big?
oh, no, I'm on
Was
my
she
treadmill. I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
so you talked to her. Okay.
Was she a big woman?
She didn't open the door.
Oh, okay. For
Well,
all
listen,
you know,
we got,
Content for you on a fucking break week. You're very welcome for that. I guess I got to get my pick for Lewis versus Spivak, huh? You guys both
Yeah,
I-
2 you're going with Lewis.
Yeah, and one more thing, Dan. You mentioned the resumes. I mean, you look at who Derek Lewis has lost to. Tai Tuivasa, he was about to fight for a title. Cyril Gane, he has fought for a title. Junior Dos Santos, former champion. DC, the champion at the time. Mark Hunt, absolute savage. And then you go back farther. I don't really know Sean Jordan too well, but he had 17-6 to Derek Lewis's 12-3. And then Matt Mitrione before that, and another absolute savage. Derek Lewis is built like Nadamik and Sue, and the polar bear is built more like a who was that? Jonathan Stewart, that fat running back that was on the Panthers. Was it Jonathan Stewart, Dan? He had like a big
He was
belly.
a running back. I don't think that's the guy, though.
I don't know if it's the guy, but there was
I know who you're
fat,
talking about.
there was a fat running back. That's what the polar bear is built like. Derek Lewis is much bigger, much stronger, much taller, where Spivak is more of like a bowling ball. Luke, sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Spivak here. I just think we've seen the best days of Derek Lewis. I think the tape's been written on him. It's been, I mean, right. It's a clear fight that Spivak is destined to lose in the sense that, like, he's got that little chicken jaw and Derek Lewis has those big ham hocks. and it's the typical fighter that Derek Lewis would knock out, right? You also look at how the fact that Tom Aspinall knocked him out. Now, Derek Lewis has most knockouts in UFC history. What's that? Oh, we're going in the wrong direction. I'm putting it in reverse. K turn. Hold on. I just hit a K turn. I'm going with Derek Lewis. Plus 190 underdog, 37 years old. He has to win this fight. It's a must-win situation. Wait a minute. Nope. Derek Lewis made enough money. Derek Lewis can retire. Derek Lewis doesn't want to keep getting in that cage. Derek Lewis can get brand deals. Derek Lewis wants to get cut. Derek Lewis can make more money doing bare knuckle, fighting easier opponents. Derek Lewis doesn't want to be in the UFC no more. He's 37. Hit another K turn. Backing out again. Backing up. All right. We're on the right track now. Very generous odds for the 28-year-old. He's 9 years younger. I'm going with Sergey Spivak, the polar bear. He's going to take him down, smother him, beat him up. Ref's going to stop it. Love it. Sergey Spivak, generous
It's
odds.
hilarious that even in your fantasies, you're not a good enough driver to like hit a U-turn.
Dude, I'm in a tight. I have like a dentist chair over here, dude. Hold on. Actually, let me. This is like a literal dental grade chair. Like this is like a chair you would see at a dentist's office. So yeah, I don't have a mic, but I have a fucking sick ass chair.
Yeah, that you bought with company money. That you bought with a company money that allowed us to, work from home stipend.
Dude, where'd you get your chair, bitch?
I got my chair from the same thing, but I spent all the money on the chair. I spent all the money on a chair, and that's why you don't see me.
You're a little weasel. All right,
that's why you don't see me complain about my chair. I spent the whole $600 on it.
We're over the contractually allowed time. We're gonna have to start offering overtime at this rate, so we're gonna have to go. So,
all right,
it's 8:00 on the dot. What do you guys think? What do you want to talk about? Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, Luke, we're gonna miss.
I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing for what to talk about. I'm all out of topics.
All right, let's just go over our early picks, bottom to top, and then we'll get out of here. Hold on 1 second. Don't jump into them right away. I'll do mine first, so that way I can get it.
All right. Lewis, Daun Jung. I was just kidding. You told me not to do it, so I did it. Go.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, listen to Daddy. Go.
We're going with Sergey Spivak. Then we got June, Daun June to be specific. Then we got a one Mr. Tybura. Then we got Choi, Do-un Join Choi, the new American stinger. And then we got Kinu, what's his name? Jesus Christ, he keeps fucking up. Kino Shita.
Kino Der Toten. The old Nazi.
And then I went with Jubilee. And then Yi, followed by Nakamura. And then who did I go with? Park or Choi?
I'm glad we waited for this. He's like running out his fucking grocery list over here.
No, he's such
apples.
He's such a little baby. He's such a little baby that he complains about everybody else's spreadsheet, but he makes it live on the show while we're going over the picks instead of just doing it after.
Listen, I'm just trying to fucking look at these names. It's very confusing. I got 3 Kims, 2 Parks. I'm like, wait, which Park did I pick? Turns out both.
You can't go wrong.
Give me a break here, all right? This fight was supposed to take place in South Korea. Should have had a South Korea person on the podcast for this thing to help us with the vernacular. Seek local help.
All right. So
I gave my picks. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dad.
All right, I got Tatsura Taira, Jungyoung Park, Ji-young Kim, Hyung Sung Park, Rinya Nakamura. We got Jung-young Lee. We got Anshul Jubilee, Adam Fugit, Kyle Nelson, Marcin Tybura, Devin Clark, and Derek Lewis. Those are my picks.
All right. And if you're rolling with me, I have Derek Lewis, Da-un Jung, Marcin Tybura, Doho Choi, Yusaku Kinoshita, and Shul Jubilee. Zai.
Switch. You're switching.
I
It's
switched
not the
earlier,
usual
Luke.
parlay.
I
We're coming
switched
back
earlier, Luke.
We're
Maybe
coming
if you
back
weren't.
next week. We're coming back next week and doing the same thing again. So
I know.
get ready.
It's hard. It's hard. I might not do it next week. And maybe this is my last show ever. Rinya Nakamura. Hayongsung Park. Mandy Boom with an asterisk. I'm not betting that one at all. Not even in the perfect parlay. Not worth my time. Jongyang Park. And then Tatsuro Tiara.
Fantastic.
What are the triple P certified at this point, Luke?
We don't know.
From
Tiara, Jongyang Park.
Park, Nakamura.
No, you went with Tallulin.
And where?
You went with Tallulin.
I did. You are very right, everybody. I did. I went with T. Lulin.
Jesus H.
Sorry. Tiara, second Park, Hong Sung Park, Nakamura, Jubilee, and Taipora, and that is it, everybody. If you wanted to,
Oh wait, no, I didn't take Yusaku. I took Adam Fuggett. I'm sorry. So triple P certified Adam Fuggett again.
Oh, I took Kinoshita.
You switched?
I did. Oh, I took Fuggett. That's right. Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess we're showing certified. For now, everybody. Check back with us next week.
And Marcin Tybura for sure.
I
Did
love
anybody take Kyle Nelson?
I did.
You took Kyle Nelson?
Hell yeah.
You dumb bitch.
You took fragile little Duho Choi.
He took Clark too. He took Devin Clark too.
I know, that was crazy. That was.
If you wanted the two pick Stan's going to get wrong for sure, those two. So that means that Jung and Choi are definitely going to win. And of the triple B certified ones, I love Tybura and I love Tyara. So Tyara, Tybura, Choi, and Jung. That is your song to win the money,
son.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Tybura, Fugit, Jubilee, Nakamura, Park, Tara. Those are our early triple B certified picks. Other than that, check back with us next week for everything official. This is the early show. Nothing is official until next week on Monday when we check back in. You got to come back next Monday. You got to get with us next Monday. You got to subscribe. You got to like. You got to click. You got to comment. You got to get in the mix. And just other than that, guys, nothing else left to say. Dan, Alex, what do you got to say?
Thanks for joining. Hit up the Patreon if you haven't already. And, of course, the Discord. We love you all.
Thank you. Love you. Patreon.com/Perfect Parlay Pursuit.